The following contest scheduled for one fall.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to One Fall Friday. SummerSlam is a week from this Sunday. The shows this week were a little bit slow, not necessarily slow, just we're building more stories and matches for SummerSlam, and we've got a couple of injuries to go over as well, so let's get to it. First injury that I want to talk about is Bayley. She injured her shoulder during a match with Nia Jax. She was supposed to face Alexa Bliss for the championship, and now she's out of SummerSlam because I think she's going to be away for maybe 4 to 6 months. In order to determine the new #1 contender for the Women's Championship, they had 2 triple threat matches, and the winner of each match are going to face each other this next Monday Night Raw. The winners of those 2 matches was Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. If they want to surprise me and throw me a curveball, I would like to see Nia win. I mean, she's still a little sloppy. I mean, she clearly, I don't know if it was Bayley overselling or maybe Nia just being a little rough. I mean, a lot of people report that Nia Jax is rough in the ring. And, maybe it could be Nia Jax wins, but then Alexa, could retain the title at SummerSlam. I don't really know. It would make a lot of sense for them to do Sasha Banks as well. Give her another title shot. And then, when Bayley comes back, maybe the 2 can have a feud. They were teasing at it, eventually that happening. So I'm pretty sure we will see that at some point. But as far as who's going to be the new #1 contender, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see after this next Monday Night Raw. And then on the tag team side of things, Scott Dawson got injured during a house show the Sunday before Raw. And he's definitely going to be out for about 6 months. And that's unfortunate because Dash Wilder just came back from an injury. He had a messed up jaw. And they were definitely, they were going to do something with the Revival. You could tell they were getting involved with the Hardys and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And nothing really happened. I was for sure that they were going to have a match to determine who was going to face Cesaro and Sheamus. That didn't happen at all. We didn't even see anything from the Hardys. We saw Gallows and Anderson. They had a tag team match against Big Show and Enzo Amore. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. But other than that, the Hardys, they didn't really do anything. And of course, the Revival, with Scott out, there's nothing for Dash to do. I kind of feel bad for the Revival. They're a great tag team, but they've had a kind of small run of bad luck lately with the injuries. And hopefully by the time Scott gets back, they won't have fizzled out that much. I mean, they were really, really popular in NXT. They were popular when they came over. They still had their following. But with them being away for a while, hopefully they'll still have some kind of heat by the time they actually start to wrestle again. Who knows? We'll see. The start of Monday Night Raw, we saw the Miz TV. Well, it was supposed to be a segment of Miz TV where he calls out Jason Jordan. That right there tells me that they're probably definitely going to have a match at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental title. But instead, Brock Lesnar came out and they had a cool little promo and making Brock Lesnar look good for the SummerSlam match. As far as Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman had a last man standing match, and Samoa Joe interfered, attacking Samoa Joe, putting him to sleep, and Braun Strowman ended up winning that match. Okay, so I think what they're going to end up doing with the tag team title situation is Cesaro and Sheamus recently have been having kind of a run-in with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, mixed matching solo matches between the 4 of them. They're kind of hinting at kind of a bromance blossoming again between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Hasn't exactly happened yet, but if they have a match at SummerSlam for the tag team titles and end up winning, what better way for them to kindle their friendship? So maybe we'll end up seeing that happen. We've still got one more Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam, and right now Sheamus and Cesaro don't have any opponents, so I would say they're their strongest opponents to have. if they were going to have opponents at all. They might just have this pay-per-view off, but I seriously doubt that, so we'll have to wait and see. And over on SmackDown was a little bit of the same story, not a whole lot new happening, just building up towards SummerSlam. There was a promo between Shane and AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, wherein there was a bit of a scuffle between AJ and Kevin, and AJ went to kick Kevin and he kicked Shane, and you know, Kevin's trying to light a fire between the two because they used to be on opposing sides against each other, and you see where that's going. We ended up seeing the return of Mr. No Chin himself, James Ellsworth. He came in and interjected himself in a match between Carmella and Naomi, and Carmella came out victorious. Seems to be the only way that she can be victorious, but that's what makes Carmella a great heel, because really there's nothing else that Carmella has going for her. You know, she has to have a reason for people to not like her, and James Ellsworth is that reason. Still building tension between the Usos and the New Day. The Usos had a tag team match with Ty Dillinger and Sami Zayn. At the end of that match, the New Day came out and just, I mean, they were fierce. It's a side of the New Day that you don't really see that often, where they're just physical, instead of just happy-go-lucky. So it was kind of cool to see that. These two teams, like I said in the past, they worked really, really well in the ring together. That's going to be one of my most anticipated matches going into SummerSlam. That's one that I absolutely cannot wait to see. And on NXT, we saw the debut of the Street Profits. My thoughts on them, they were really, really good in the ring. They have great skill, great talent. And I know a lot of people are dogging on the gimmick right now. Am I a fan of it? Not really, but I'm not going to harp on them for doing it. You know, it's been done before, and sometimes it was successful, sometimes not so successful. Maybe these guys, they'll catch some fire and they'll go somewhere with it. There was a promo between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Roode where they were in the ring at the same time for the first time together, and they were going back and forth. Roderick Strong came out, and he still wants a match with Bobby Roode. He doesn't necessarily care. Well, he says right now he doesn't necessarily care about the title. He just wants to get his hands on Roode for Roode doing what he's been doing. And in order for him to do that, he has to beat Drew McIntyre next week. It's not messing with NXT Brooklyn at all. It's still going to be Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Roode one-on-one for the NXT title. That's going to be a really, really good match. I can't wait to see that match. And No Way Jose had a one-on-one match with Andrade Cien Almas. Andrade came out on top in this match, and then they challenged Johnny Gargano, who just recently returned from being injured, to a singles match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. The commentator said, well, it is up to William Regal to make the matches, but we all know that, you know, once it's talked about on TV, it's gonna happen. So there's no reason why William Regal won't make that match. And I think that's gonna be a pretty good match. It'll probably be the first match on the card. Gargano versus Almas, two of my favorite wrestlers in NXT right now. That should be a really, really good opening match. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up this week. Like I said, not a whole lot going on, just working towards SummerSlam. Next week, we're going to spend the entire episode talking about the cards for NXT Brooklyn 3 and for SummerSlam. We got a lot of matches to go over, a lot of predictions to make, so we're devoting an entire episode to just these cards, and it'll be the same the following week when we talk about the results. And then, gosh, I don't know, I might have to do a part 1 and part 2 the week after, because after SummerSlam on the 21st is the beginning of the Mae Young Classic, so there's a whole lot going on, and we got a whole lot to talk about, but I can't wait to talk about it. It's going to be so cool. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching this episode. I'll be back later with another video. I hope to see you there. My name is Dave, and I am the One Man Rave. See ya!